Well, our members worked right the way through COVID and still working, of course, to keep the railway network going, move the goods around the country and move those key workers. Our members, unlike many people in society, didn't get to work at home because they had to operate the railway. So during that period, they had no pay increase whatsoever. We're going into the third year where our members involved in this dispute have not had a pay increase. And now, as a reward for that, as well as a pay freeze, we're being threatened with the loss of thousands of jobs. And we believe that the industry has taken a risk with the maintenance of the infrastructure. And we could go back to the worst days of rail track and the privatised railway, where we had lots of accidents, lots of fatalities and injuries, unfortunately, and the degradation of our system. So what we want is a properly staffed railway, a railway with a human face, not a stripped out railway with no people on it. And we want our members to earn a decent living. So what we're looking for is a negotiated settlement with these companies. They're carrying out government policy, a direct Tory mandate to freeze pay in the railway sector as well as the public services in general. And our members can't be made to pay for that because our members struggle like every other worker in this country. And all workers in Britain need a pay rise. They need to keep up with this rampant inflation rate that we've got and the ever-increasing cost of living. So there's a cost of living crisis. And one of the responses to that would always be workers looking for a pay rise through their trade unions.
I just wondered, now that people are working from home a lot more, COVID obviously delivered lots of people working from home. It's now a lot easier for people to do that. Does that mean that strike action's less potent now than it was before because it won't disrupt people's lives? And by going on strike, you said that you don't want a railway where fewer people are using it and all the rest of it. Are you not just creating the climate where actually more and more people just give up on using the trains because, they think, well, I don't know if they're going to be on strike or not. It's too inconvenient. It's too much of a guesswork whether they'll be running or not. And all you're actually doing is damaging the railway industry and therefore the future of your members.
Well, the damage to the railway industry is caused by the government's policies, which is a privatised railway where profit is extracted. Last year, the railways made £500 million in profit through the rolling stock companies, the subcontractors and indeed the train operating companies. What we need is a settlement to the issues. We don't want compulsory redundancies in our industry. We want a safe railway. Now, we don't want to cause any damage to any worker in Britain. We want everyone to have an enjoyable life and a convenient transport system. But what we can't do is just surrender to the idea that rail workers are going to be poorer going forward so that the private companies can make mass profits. And we're seeing that all across British society. The energy companies are making billions and billions of pounds in profit, while we're expected, all of us, to pay more in our bills for the utilities and the energy supplies, and of course food and clothing and all the rest of it. And for working people, the people on modest salaries, which is where our members are, people earning the mid-20,000s, maybe £30,000 a year, the proportion of those costs that we're all experiencing is, of course, much greater. So what we're seeing is a transfer of wealth from working people through the dividends of these companies to the rich. And we've got to rebalance that. And a strong trade union movement taking appropriate industrial action in defence of working people is the right response. And that's what we will do if our members vote for it. But of course, the companies have got time to negotiate a settlement if they wish to. Then we will provide that opportunity to them and talk to them in dialogue and in order to get a settlement to the issues at stake.
But, do you really think you have public support when you go on strike and interrupt people's lives and, the proposal to sabotage the Queen's Platinum Jubilee celebrations with strike action? Is that really the right way to go about getting public support for your case, which people may or may not agree with? But do you really think that's the best way to get that support for your members' case?
Well, this strike won't take place. Any strikes won't take place during the Queen's Jubilee. That will happen before any of this takes place. So that's not an issue. The first thing we need to do is get the support of our members. Our members want a pay deal. Every worker in this country wants a pay deal, and they all need a union that's capable of delivering that for them. And it's a pity that there aren't more unions and more organisations willing to take up those workers' causes. So we will find out if we've got that support on Tuesday when the ballot votes are declared, and we're sure that our members will deliver a massive mandate in favour of this action, because the alternative to that is surrender, where we just accept ever continuing drops in standard of living. We surrender the argument of the cost of living to the rich in this country, and we strip out jobs and face a railway system that is degraded and could become a hostile environment for people that need passenger assistance, women travelling alone, and people that need assistance with ticket offices and all the rest of it. Plus, of course, the risks they're taking with the infrastructure itself. So this is a battle for the future of the railway, but there's also a battle in Britain in general for whether working people are going to be exploited by the rich or whether we're going to balance that out in the workplace and give us an opportunity to earn a decent living.